All right, here we are, everybody. Gosh, we had 8 just as we went live, and now we have 4 watching. That's okay. I'm fine with picking up, replay viewers. That works too. Um, so tonight I have with me Jack, of course, who reads the parts for Scott Adams. Tonight he's going to read any parts that Galen Gigger might pop off with, which actually is in the very beginning. I have Alice, and she's going to be reading the parts of the court. And I have Susan, who's going to be reading the part of Thank You, Under Your Scars. I appreciate that. And Susan's going to read the part of Laurie McConnell, who will be doing the questioning of Shardayreon Hill. Y'all are going to get stuck with me trying to read tonight. Wait a minute. What did I just say? Susan's going to read. Oh, she's going to be doing direct examination of Shardayreon Hill. I am going to be reading the part of Shardayreon Hill. Kay is not going to be able to be with us tonight. She's out fighting the good fight. And Cherie will pop in when she gets home from work, from her staff meeting. So, hello to everybody on the panel. Jack, how are you doing?
Not too bad, not too bad. Just heading in more towards winter in Michigan. So you know how that is, cloudy and cold, right? Rainy.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
Well,
I
it's
don't
not
wish that
snow
on
yet.
anyone. That's true.
Well,
That's true.
yeah, you saw what you get used to, you know.
Yeah, it is. After however many years I've been in Utah, I'm acclimated to it now, so that's okay.
Yeah, we're let's see, we're 10, 13, 16 years, just past 16 years here. So we've been here for a while.
I've been in Utah since 1980, so
Oh, well.
I'm not trying to do the math.
Well, that's 43 years, so.
Yeah, makes sense. So yeah,
that's amazing considering you're only 39.
Exactly. I don't know how it's a miracle. Oh gosh. Great. All right. Thank you so much, Jack. And Susan, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, Rhonda. Thanks.
Good. Good. And Miss Alice, how are you doing tonight, Granny?
Yeah, I'm doing great, thank you. I'm looking forward to tomorrow because I'm going to see Ozzy tomorrow. And I'm going to go and take him to see my mum. So, yeah. So I'm not sure if I'll be able to stay for the whole of the live, but
That's okay.
I will stay as long as I can because they live about an hour and a half away. So, and I don't drive; it's public transport, so it's all double buses and things like that. So it's an early start for me tomorrow.
You're coming through perfect now, Alice.
Yep.
I've got my headphones in. I'm on my tablet, and it hasn't got a separate it hasn't got a jack for the headphones. So I have to, and the same place where the headphones gets put in is where the charger needs to get put in. So I might have to swap.
That's okay. That's just fine. We'll manage. Listen, if you end up having to leave before we get done, we'll figure it out. It's all going to be fine. We've done it before. I know when we've read parts of when we've done depositions, transcripts, and stuff like that on Jack's open mics. Sometimes we read a couple different people's parts, and it's all works out all the time. So it's all good. So, all right. Before we get started, I just want to remind everybody we're slowly picking up subscribers, and that's been amazing. And so if you haven't, subscribed to the channel yet, please subscribe. If you're watching on Foul Play, on Foul Play's YouTube, that's perfectly awesome. And I'd like you to, chat and everything in there as well. But I also would really appreciate it if you would subscribe to my channel and come in and chat in my chat as well. Several of us do, well, a lot of us do both chats. I don't really do too much because I'm, pulling all the levers and stuff back here, but several
that makes it
chatters
really
are-
makes it really difficult.
It is a little confusing and a little challenging.
Oh yeah.
So, but it's okay, just bear with me. And as I try to read and scroll and check comments, and basically I probably won't be hitting very many comments on the screen unless we pause to chat or something. So normally, you guys know I like to throw some comments up on the screen for everyone to see, but might not be doing as much of that tonight. So
No, but what
but
they can do, Rhonda, is if they do have a question and we haven't seen it in the chat, they can always go after the video and put it into your comments section at the bottom,
yeah,
because the comment section helps your algorithm and things like that as well. So the more people that comment there, will help with that as well. So
yeah,
like Rhonda says, because we're reading transcripts and things, we don't always notice the chat. So any questions that you have, put them in the comments section, and I'm sure Rhonda or somebody will get to it and be able to answer that question for you.
absolutely. Thank you for saying that. I appreciate it. Yeah, that's exactly it. And I look at my comments at least 2 or 3 times a day. I'm scouring the comments to make sure that I, don't miss any and that I answer any questions. And so, um, even if it doesn't come up, if I don't get back right away within the day, it won't be too far out. So I always try to comment, even to the people that come in and have nasty things to say. I like to at least appreciate them for their comment and their opinion, and then, take it from there. So, okay. Excuse me. So I already warned everybody that this is going to be a long um, road
Read.
getting through this. Yeah, because just Shardayreon Hill's testimony alone is over 200 pages. And, then I probably won't, do like her witness testimonies. I'll download them. If I get a hold of them, I'll download them and put them in her room in my Discord. But I will probably skip those. But we definitely have to go through the detective's testimony in her case, and that's Rocky Gregory. That's a few parts down the line, because tonight we're going to read probably 78 pages, and then we're going to stop just before Scott Adams' cross-examination. And it has not yet been decided, but even though it's not my regular night, I will probably come back next Tuesday night with Scott Adams, if my readers are available, with Scott Adams.
Shouldn't be a problem for me, Rhonda. Shouldn't be a problem.
Okay. Jack, you are awesome. Susan, you guys are also awesome to make yourselves available every time. I really appreciate it. So yeah, because I don't want to keep, have too much time between these transcript readings. And then after we get done with the rest of Scott Adams on Tuesday, then on Thursday, just 2 days later on my regular night, we'll start with Rocky Gregory, probably. That's my plan anyway.
Rocky.
This Rocky, Rockhead. I like to call him Rockhead or Bonehead.
No doubt. That too.
So yeah. So having said that all very quickly and gotten that out in the front, I think we'll go ahead and start. And if there are questions that need to be addressed, or that we should address because it fits in the moment of where we are in the transcript, one of the panel members will let me know, and we'll just take a pause and we'll address it. Catnip, first of all, thank you so much. I'm so glad to have you back. It's awesome seeing your comments and your links in the chat. It's amazing. I love it. But she says, Catnip says, warning, lots of trial testimony tonight. So grab your drinks of choice and abundance of snacks. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much. And I would imagine, I'm not sure how long Kat will be able to be here with us tonight, but I expect that she will probably help us with some links. So that will be helpful as well, especially for new folks. I believe Sheila, I missed her name back here a little bit. Hawkins? Yes. Sheila Hawkins, I believe, is the one that I've been chatting with a little bit on one of my other videos. And so welcome, if that is you. I don't remember the last name, but welcome. Great to have you here. And hopefully, even though you're jumping in the middle of a thing, I've given you some places to go and get started with how this whole case works. So hopefully that will help you and work out for you. All right. She's so cute. Kat is very quick. Now listen, if we have Kat, Liam, and TJ in here tonight, oh boy.
Yeah, Liam was late last time, so you know.
Yeah. Well, he is a mod for Claire Barrett.
Right.
And she does a show on Tuesday night. So I don't think he'll be here, but we'll miss him, but it'll be okay. Between Kat and TJ, we'll be fine. The humor will be flowing. So,
oh yeah.
Okay. We are going to get started with this. I believe, like I said, we're just going to start on line 4 with Gigger, and Jack is going to read that for us to get us started. Thank you so much. Really, really appreciate you, Sheila, and hopefully you'll just listen. I'm told we're funny. At least Under Your Scars thinks we're funny. So if sometimes we have to bring some humor to this dark topic. So just put on some headphones or whatever while you're preparing supper and just listen along, and hopefully you'll learn some crazy stuff. Okay, so we're going to start on line 4 with Jack reading Mr. Gigger, and here we go.
I thought about putting a voice to Gigger, but I guess I better not because he's quite a bit. So we'll just do normal.
No, this is all he has, except for maybe a sidebar or something. This is the only thing Gigger really says. So
okay.
You go ahead and make your voice.
Judge, our next witness is going to definitely take more than time. We're ready to go. She's here, but I don't know if you wanted to.
Let's get her started.
Okay.
The state calls Shardayreon Hill.
All right, ma'am. Step right before me. Raise your right hand. All right. If you'll have a seat over here in this chair, once you get situated, pull that microphone right around in front of you. If you would state your name and spell it for us, please.
My name is Shardayreon Hill. It's spelled Shardayreon. Hill is the last name. Hill.
All right, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Hill, how old are you today?
I'm 24.
Okay. And I want to draw your attention back to December 20th of 2013, okay?
Yes.
On December 20th, 2013, were you at Liberty Station Apartments?
Yes, ma'am.
And where are Liberty Station Apartments located at?
It's between Phillips and Lindsay on 26th, 27th-ish, something like that.
Northeast?
Yes, ma'am.
On that day, were you there by yourself or with other people?
I was there with my cousin,
Okay. And what's your cousin's name?
Janae Stafford.
Jonaye
Yes, ma'am.
Stafford.
Yes, ma'am.
Why were you at Liberty Station Apartments that day?
We was just hanging out and sitting in a truck and
Just the two of you?
yeah, just me and Janae.
So you were out, you weren't in an apartment. You were sitting outside in the parking lot?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you doing any type of drugs with Janae Stafford on that day?
Yes.
What type of drugs were you doing?
It was PCP.
And how do you do PCP?
You smoke it on a cigarette.
Okay. Did Oklahoma City police officers make contact with you while you were at Liberty Station Apartments?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me about where you were and how that contact happened.
We were backed in the apartments, like on the first entry of the apartments. And all of the sudden, we see the police is pulling in the apartments. And they went to the middle. They turned around and went to the middle of the apartments. And then they came back fast around and they pulled up in front of the truck that we were in.
And you said, quote, they pulled in front, end quote. Was there just one car or more than one car?
It was more than one car.
Do you remember how many cars were there?
It was about 3.
Okay. What happened after these cars pulled in front of you?
The officer came to the door and just opened it and he pulled me out.
And I didn't ask you before, Miss Hill, where were you sitting in this truck?
I was sitting in the driver's seat.
And where was Miss Stafford sitting?
She was sitting in the passenger seat of the truck.
So the officer that opened the door, which door did he open?
He opened the left because we were backed in, so he was on my left side and pulled the door open.
So he opened the driver's side door?
The driver's side door.
Okay. What happened next?
When he opened it, he pulled me out and then like he was saying, "What's the smell he smell?" and stuff like that. And he was talking to me. He takes me and walks me to the back of his car and he asked me, "Is it okay to search me?" And I told him no.
Is this an officer that you had ever made contact with before?
No, ma'am.
And while this is happening with you, Miss Hill, is Miss Stafford having a conversation with another police officer?
Yes, I believe the other police officers were on her side speaking with her.
Okay.
Or they took her to their car.
And you said that this officer asked if he could search you, and you told him no.
Yes.
What happened after that?
He sat me in the back of his car and then they went to search the truck. And by the time that I guess they were done, it was a female officer that came shortly after. And when she came, they pulled me out and that's when she checked me.
Okay. And whenever you had told me that you'd been smoking this PCP cigarette, did you have that on you whenever the officers made contact with you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And did you have any PCP substance on you other than that cigarette at that point when the officers first made contact with you?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Your Honor, may I approach real quick?
Alice?
I'm talking away here and I'm muted. Come up.
Your Honor, for the purposes of the record, this witness is admitting to criminal acts. She's entitled to a lawyer, And I'm not trying to cause any problems. I'm just bringing it up to the court's attention. She's entitled to one. I just don't want to get into any squirrely situations. Therefore, I'm bringing it to the court's attention when I've always done what has always happened in the past or I've seen happen in the past. And it is currently pending. She has charges currently pending. And so I'm assuming that she has a lawyer. I don't know that. I'm just wanting the court to be aware of that before we get, because she's getting questioned and she's obviously admitting to some crimes. And I don't know if it matters. I just want to bring it to the court's attention.
May I have a moment, Judge?
And I would have brought it up earlier, but he reminded me, Mr. Gray.
Mr. Adams is correct, and I wasn't even thinking whenever I approached this area of the questioning with her that she had pending charges for the vial of PCP that this court has already heard Ashley Zexer testified to that was located on a female suspect. Would have been Shardayreon Hill. I'm certainly not planning on getting into the vial. The fact that she had PCP spilled on her, she's not charged with that. So I would refrain from talking about any vial that was found on her. What
You're going to refrain from talking about the vial?
from the vial found on her. My question that I think I had asked before we approached was, had a PCP substance been spilled on her? I think what she's going to say is that someone else spilled that on her before the officers came into contact with her. I don't really feel like that's violating any type of rights that she has, but I'll leave it to the court.
Does she have a pending case?
She does.
Based on the vial.
She has a possession with intent arising out of this incident. I'm assuming she's represented by a lawyer. That's the only reason I'm bringing it to the court's attention.
Alice?
Unless Mr. Adams is going to agree not to mention anything about PCP.
No, you skipped too far.
Oh, I've skipped a bit. Oh, aye. All right. Then why? Okay.
Page 1230. There you go.
And you're not prepared to go on the record and say that there's been any kind of agreement or
They haven't told me that.
amnesty or anything?
No, there's been no agreement, Your Honor.
All right, then why don't we?
Judge, I think we can go forward without getting her to admit something. We can just get her to being transferred to the hospital, I think, and can we not? But I think Mr. Adams is going to want to cross her. So because of that, we may need to get an attorney here and let her talk with an attorney. I don't know who represents her.
Unless Mr. Adams is going to agree not to mention anything about PCP, I think probably...
we can agree to that, Judge. I can agree for the state.
I'm
Mr.
not ready
Adams.
to do that right now. Oh,
Yeah,
I'm
thank
sorry.
you. No, thank you.
All right. I didn't think you were, so I guess what we'll do, we'll have to recess until Tuesday.
I understand. And Mr. Giger, we'll find out who's representing her, and I'll tell the court I didn't realize her case was still open. I thought it had already been pled.
Yeah, it didn't cross my mind at the time.
And no attorney has ever contacted me saying, "Hey, my client is going to testify in your case," so I didn't realize it was still open.
We'll check that out.
Mr. Adams, okay.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've got some issues that we've got to work out here. Ma'am, can you step down? Miss McConnell, you can show your witness out. So we've got some issues that we've got to deal with out of your presence. As you were told when you first started Monday, voir dire, when most of you were up there, that we would not be holding court on Monday. So we're going to recess until Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. So if you come in here Monday, there's going to be a lot of stuff going on, but it's not going to have anything to do with this. You're welcome to come if you want, but we won't be doing this. So I need to admonish you not to discuss this case.
Yeah, that's it. That's I don't know. I found this quite amazing personally.
Yeah.
I mean,
Interesting that he's not aware.
it is interesting, and I don't know what the word is. I'm trying to search for it, but why would the state think that Adams wouldn't question her about the PCP? I mean, to me, that's just
Right?
stupid.
No
They
kidding.
were hoping.
What, like he's going to let it go? I mean, come on.
Right.
She's a crack addict or PCP fiend or whatever you want to call it.
And
a
she
lot of
was insanely high at the hospital. It had to be.
and for 5 days later, she admitted to it in the pretrial.
Yeah.
She was still hot. She was still screwed up when she got released. Come on, man.
Yeah. Sounds either, well, like wishful thinking on Giger's part or total incompetence. I choose total incompetence.
Well, I can't disagree with you, but damn.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. So this is where we split, and then this was, I'm guessing, on a Friday, and we're back on Tuesday morning, and we'll start on line 4 with the court.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Let the record reflect that all members of the jury are present. Counsel for the state, counsel for the defendant. The defendant is present as well. I want to first off wish the United States Marine Corps a happy birthday today, 240 years today of the United States Marine Corps. You can call your witness back to the stand.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Miss Hill, if you would retake the witness stand, and let me remind you, you are still under oath. And again, ma'am, if you'll just pull that microphone right around to the front of you. Counsel, would you approach Mr. Wallace? All right. When we last spoke, we were going to look into the issues of this witness having a pending case. Mr. Wallace represents this witness on her pending case. And Mr. Wallace came in to me this morning. Saying that he would be here and present. Mr. Wallace, do you have any announcements you wish to take as far as this witness testimony goes? Mr. Wallace, yes, Your Honour. I've discussed the issues with my client. She understands she has the right to assert the Fifth Amendment. However, she is willing to waive that right and testify concerning the elements of the crimes she is currently charged with.
Adams, and Your Honor, just for further the record, and it's my understanding that no leniency or any sort of deal was at all been offered to Miss Hill in regards to her testimony here today. I requested it and have been told that there are none, and offer or accepted.
Mr. Wallace, Your Honour, I can confirm that Miss McConnell and Mr. Giger, I've never spoken with them about Shardayreon Hill on any occasion. Only person I've dealt with is Mr. Nymere, and to my knowledge, he's never had a communication with them either. So these have not made any offers to this defendant. The court. All right, very well, thank you. All right, Miss McConnell, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Hill, I think when we left off on Friday, you had told the jury that on December 20th of 2013, you were at Liberty Station Apartments. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And you had come into contact with some police officers from Oklahoma City Police Department.
Yes, ma'am.
And specifically, one police officer dealt with you during your time at Liberty Station.
Yes.
And I think the question that I had left off on Friday was, at some point, did drugs get on your person or on your clothes in some way?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me how that happened.
There was someone standing at the door of the car, and he took off running. But before he took off running, he threw everything in the car with me and my cousin.
Okay. And Miss Hill, let me make sure I understand. You said someone standing next to your car
Yes.
threw it on you?
His name was KG that I know of.
And what made this person run away?
Because he seen the police when they pulled in the apartments.
So, whenever this police officer first made contact with you, this PCP was already on you?
Yes, ma'am.
And is that the substance that was thrown on you was PCP?
Yes, ma'am.
Did having this PCP on your clothing and on you cause anything for you?
Yes, ma'am.
What did it cause?
Stupid question. It caused me to get high off of it, being on into my pores.
And Ms. Hill, just briefly for the jury, what does getting high on PCP feel like?
Oh, it was just, it made me feel good, I guess you could say, in a good way.
After the police officer made contact with you, I think you told me on Friday that he had asked to search you and you said no, you didn't want him to.
Yes, ma'am.
What happened after that?
As he was taking me to the car, he asked, could he search me? And I said no. And he was like, well, we're going to search you anyway. He placed me in the back seat.
Were you handcuffed in the back seat?
No, ma'am.
Okay. What happened after you got in the back seat?
The officers were over at the car. Other officers were speaking with Janae, and I guess they were searching the car and waiting for a woman police to come. And when she came, they pulled me back out and then they searched me.
Okay, and when you say they searched me, who specifically?
She did. She searched me, and just the other ones just stood around.
So the female officer was the only one who was laying hands on your body to search you?
Right.
And whenever this female officer searched you, what happened?
She searched me and she found something, and when she found it, I crushed it.
Uh,
Okay. And when you say she found something, did she find a vial of PCP?
Yes, ma'am.
And when you say you crushed it, tell me what you mean by that.
I tried to get rid of it and I crushed it in my mouth.
Okay. Was it a glass vial?
Yes, ma'am.
After you crushed that glass vial, did it have PCP in it as well?
Yes, ma'am.
And was an ambulance called for you?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you ride in the ambulance?
Yes, I rode in the ambulance to the apartment, to the hospital.
Did any police officers ride inside the ambulance with you?
No, ma'am.
can we pause here at line 5, please? Just for a minute.
14
and talk.
15.
I'm sorry. Yes, yes. Okay. I have a real problem here because with quite a series of events that just happened here that it bears some explanation and that came out in the pretrial and is completely glossed. Maybe Adam will get to it. I don't know that. That's why I'm bringing it up now. But there's she's completely leaving out the series of events of that the glass vial was put on the back of the trunk, and while they were busy doing whatever, the cops, she leaned over with her mouth and got it in her mouth and broke it.
Right.
Yeah.
Not quite the same story there.
Not quite, no. I completely glossed it.
That's
That yeah, go
sorry,
ahead.
go ahead. No,
No,
go
go
ahead.
ahead. I was just going to say
Well,
they just completely glossed completely over her act.
yeah. And that's why I appreciate, that's why I like to do these as close to one another as possible. The
Yeah.
police report, the preliminary, and then the trial, because you're remembering that from, just last week, and hopefully others are too, that we're already just a few pages in and we're already seeing the discrepancies. So
Well, and to add to that, now we've got a person that she's smoked a cigarette that's been laced with dipped in PCP and allowed to dry. So they're sitting there cranked up on that. This KG or whoever he is, he throws this vial of PCP on Shardayreon, so she's got even more. And now, a few minutes later, she's picked up this vial with her mouth and crushed it in her mouth. So now she's got a triple cocktail here. She had to be cranked out of her head. She had to be.
No
I'm just
doubt.
never have done that kind of drug in my life. You couldn't pay me to do that. But
yeah, me either.
Yeah.
God.
Same.
Well, and remember, and you already mentioned this, she said that even after spending 5 days in jail, she was still high when she came out. What's
Yeah.
amazing is that she didn't suffer any cardiac failure
Event.
or, she
That's
didn't
right.
die because
That's
she
right.
was definitely overdosed.
Oh, big time.
Yeah.
High
So
tolerance.
Well,
exactly.
probably that, Susan. But on top of that, they got her medicated relatively quick. If she had been left alone with all of that, I think she could have very well died, or
Yeah,
at
I
least
think
suffered
so.
a serious heart damage. Anyway,
And Jack, that right there is the whole reason that Daniel took special interest in her. She could have died because of what she ingested that one night and was still feeling the effects of, um, 5 days later.
right?
So yeah, it's thanks, Kat, for putting that in there. And yes, Sheila, she obviously has a very high pain or very high tolerance for the drug.
No doubt.
For it not to have killed her.
Mm-hmm.
So that gives you some insight as to why. Doesn't make it okay. It still doesn't make it okay, but that gives you some sort of insight as to where Daniel's head must have been when he reached out to her later. So,
Yeah, she was young. What was she? 20?
24?
24, yeah.
Yeah. Yep. So.
Okay. Do you know what hospital you were taken to?
I was taken to Southwest Medical.
Once you got to Southwest Medical Center, what was the first thing that happened?
They got me in there, and when they took me out, they put me in a shower. Right as they took me in there was a shower somewhere close.
Right inside the entrance area?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What happened when you got in the shower?
And they took everything off me, and then they just poured the shower down on my head, down my whole body.
And when you say they took everything off of you, do you mean your clothes?
All my clothes.
So you were completely nude during the shower?
Yes, ma'am.
Who was assisting with showering you?
I believe the nurses, but it was everyone like standing around.
What was the purpose in showering you, if you know, Ms. Hill?
Excuse me. I believe they was trying to clean me up because they seen that the PCP was the smell that was on me. They were trying to wash it off. They weren't trying to wash the fucking smell off of her.
No.
God,
No.
Jesus. Anyway, sorry.
You told me earlier that a police officer didn't ride with you in the ambulance. Was a police officer at the hospital whenever you arrived?
Yes, ma'am.
Was it the same police officer or a different police officer that you had made contact with at Liberty Station?
It was the same police that I was in contact in Liberty Station.
Did he assist with the shower at the hospital?
Objection, leading. He was standing there as they washed me down.
Okay. And you said he was standing there. Was he taking your clothes or helping wash you?
No, he just stood there.
Did he continue to stand there after they removed your clothes?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Did he continue to stand there after they removed your clothes while in the shower?
Yes, ma'am.
How did that make you feel, Miss Hill?
Well, at the moment,
Adams, Judge, object as relevance.
Overruled.
I didn't realize that he was standing there. Really, he told me after the fact. And then
He
as he told me, I remembered him standing there, but he was just watching. And when they
Okay.
brought me a gown after that and put me in bed.
Adams, a judge, again, I'd object as non-responsive. The question was, how did it make her feel?
All right, ask another question.
I will, Your Honor. After you were in the shower, you said that they gave you a gown.
Yes, ma'am.
Did they give you any other clothes besides the hospital gown?
No.
And where were you taken to after the shower?
They put me in a hospital bed and rolled me around to one room. It was kind of a recovery room, and they gave me a drink to make it come out of my system.
To make the PCP come out of your system?
Yes, ma'am.
The first room you went to, Miss Hill, you called the recovery room. Was anyone else in that room besides you?
The officer was in the room, and at this time the nurses were coming in and out the first room.
Okay. Were there any other patients in that room besides you?
No, ma'am.
And you said nurses were coming in and out. Were they trying to check on your progress?
Yeah, that's where they gave me the drink and some more stuff. I think they was asking other questions.
Did you have any conversation with the police officer while you were in the first room?
No,
Did anything inappropriate happen between you and the officer while you were in this first room?
no.
And do you know how long you were in the first room?
It was a pretty long time. I'm not really sure like exactly how long, but it was a pretty long time. Maybe like an hour, I would say, in the first room.
Okay. We referred to this room as the first room, Miss Hill. At some point, were you transported somewhere else within the hospital?
Yes, ma'am.
Where were you transported to, ma'am?
I was taken to a smaller room that looked like, another recovery room or a room where you would go and get checked up or something like that.
Did this police officer accompany you to the second room that you were in?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you under arrest while you were at the hospital, Miss Hill?
Yes, ma'am.
Were handcuffs ever placed on you during this time at the hospital?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me when they were placed on you.
I was I when I was taken to the second room, I was handcuffed, my right arm to the right side of the bed.
In the first room?
I don't believe I could have been, but I really not for sure, but I know for sure in the second room I was handcuffed to the bed.
You told me that in the first room there were nurses kind of coming in and out at various times.
Uh-huh.
Were there any nurses or doctors coming in and out of the second room that you went to?
No, ma'am.
Do you remember seeing any during your time in the second room?
No, ma'am.
Were there any other patients in the second room that you went to?
No.
And I want to talk about what happened in the second room, but Ms. Hill, as you sit here today, Do you have charges pending for what happened at Liberty Station Apartments?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Are you represented by an attorney in that case?
Yes, ma'am.
Have Mr. Gigger or I made any deal to you on that case?
No, ma'am.
When you're in the second room, does this police officer say anything to you?
Yes, he's talking to me and he's asking me questions and he was just asking me why am I selling drugs in known drug areas where the police is watching, and he was naming the areas.
Let me make sure I understand, Ms. Hill. He's asking you, why do you sell drugs in known drug areas?
Right.
And you said he started naming some places. What places did he name?
He was saying you don't know that they watch Sooner Haven, the Hood, Prince Hall, and some more known apartments around the area.
Which are separate from Liberty Station Apartments, wherever you were arrested?
Right.
So, am I correct that this officer is telling you places to stay away from?
Right.
What did you think of that, Miss Hill?
Well, I feel like he was being my friend, like he was trying to tell me be like give me to feel like I can trust him.
Is that the same or a different experience that you've had with police officers in the past?
It's a totally different experience that I've ever had with any police.
At any point while you're in this room, did this police officer start making any comments about your body?
Objection leading. Yes, ma'am.
Tell me about that, Miss Hill.
By me being high off the drug, I really wasn't noticing that the gown they gave me kept drooping. And it wasn't like I didn't care or nothing that it was drooping. I just didn't notice it, but he noticed it. And so he told me once about it drooping. And then I didn't think nothing of it. And, I kind of tried myself to pull it back, but I guess it fell back down. Each time it fell down, he would bring it to my attention. So after he said it so many times, I started thinking to myself, like, I wonder, is this really is he really trying to come on to me?
And you said your hospital gown was drooping, and you kind of gestured toward your chest area.
Uh huh.
Was your gown exposing a portion of your breast?
It was a portion.
Okay. And you told me that the hospital didn't give you any other clothes besides the gown whenever you finished showering.
Right.
Did you have anything underneath your hospital gown at this point in time?
Well, no, ma'am.
Were you underneath blankets on this bed?
No, I just had the gown and I was on white sheets.
So you told me about the comments that this police officer made to you. After you said that you pulled up your gown, he continued to make these comments.
Yes, ma'am.
And did he do anything to your body at that point?
Eventually he came after he said it a few times and to help me like pull it up. And when he came to pull it up for me, he came to the right side of me and he grabbed the gown and he grabbed my breast as he was pulling it up, and he didn't like he did it like that.
So he grabbed your left breast as he was pulling up your hospital gown,
Yes, ma'am.
and you kind of gestured toward me. Did he cup your breast?
He cupped it.
Did he say anything whenever he did that?
No, he didn't. He just cupped it. And I was just thinking, like, did he really just do that? That's what I was thinking.
And whenever he cupped your breast, was that on top of your hospital gown?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What happened next, Miss Hill?
After that, he started talking to me and he's asking me about my kids, daddy, and why do I choose those type of guys to date. And I was just talking to him and I was feeling like at the moment, like I could trust him. And but I wasn't really thinking nothing of it at the moment. I'm just thinking like I'm talking to an honest cop. That's how I was feeling. And so I asked him shortly, could I go to the restroom? And he unhooked the handcuffs and I stood up and he walked me out to the middle part of the outside the room.
And let me stop you, Miss Hill. Was there a restroom in your room that you were in?
No, ma'am.
So you had to exit the room.
Yes, ma'am.
Was the restroom located close to the room you were in?
It was kind of close, like in between, like I could walk out and walk in front of the nurse's station. And it was right behind. I'm on, I'm on, I'm the door. I'm on this side of the nurse's desk. Couldn't help it. I'm on this side of the nurse's desk, and it's right like on the corner of the nurse's desk, the bathroom.
So it was past the nurse station?
Right.
Okay. And whenever you went to the restroom, did he accompany you into the restroom?
He stood outside the door while I went in.
Did you pass nurses and doctors on your way to the bathroom or hospital staff?
Yeah, it was probably like one nurse sitting at the desk.
Did you tell any hospital staff on your way to the restroom about what had happened with the police officer grabbing your breast?
No, ma'am, because I really didn't want to believe or think that's what he was really trying to do at the moment.
After you exited the restroom, were you taken back to the room, the second room that you've told me about?
Yes, ma'am.
What happened next?
When we got in the room, I asked, could he call my mom? Because shortly I started trying to, I was like, he's friendly, he's cool. So could you please call my mom up for me and let her know what's going on? And he called her. Well, first he was telling me like he couldn't do it. He couldn't do it. But then he turned around and did it anyway.
And did he call your mom on a hospital phone?
No, he used his cell phone. It was a black phone, touchscreen phone.
What number did he call your mom at?
He called her at her number.
And did he give you the phone at that point, or did he keep control of the phone?
He kept the phone. He dialed the number and put it on speakerphone. And he was sitting on the chair that was on the left side of the bed. And he sat and he held the phone like this while I talked.
And sorry, to make sure we can hear. I know you're leaning back to tell me, but
He sat in the chair next to the on the left side of my bed and he held the phone while I it was on speakerphone so that I could speak with her.
did your mom answer?
Yes, she did.
What's your mother's name?
My mother's name is Latanya James.
And what did you tell your mom?
I was talking to her and she was like, I was telling, like, Mama, I'm going to jail. And she was mad because she already found out. And she, like, you got to go to jail and all this. And I was like, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. But the way I was talking to her, she could tell that I was off on something. And so,
She could tell you were high.
right, because I was talking like I wasn't normal.
Did you tell her why you thought you weren't going to jail?
Yes, I told her. She was like, "What do you mean you're not going to jail?" Like she knew that I was at the hospital with the police, like I was already in custody. She already knew that. So she like, "What do you mean you're not going to jail?" I was like, "Because my friend's going to let me go." And then she was like, "Who's your friend?" And I was like, I was looking at him. I was like, "His name is Mr. Officer," because I had asked him his name and he wasn't trying to, and I was kind of trying having blurry vision and I seen a weird name on his tag, but I really couldn't like pronounce it at the time. God, she sounds like she's fucking high now.
So I
Hmm.
want to know how her mother knows. Maybe the hospital contacted her. mother,
Probably,
teenage
or the
daughter.
yeah, yeah, that's
Okay.
the kind of circle they're in.
And I also find it, as we've read through this part in trial testimony, and she's already said that he cupped her breast at least once, maybe twice, I don't remember, but nonetheless.
One so far.
So she's still thinking he's cool and he's an honest cop and her friend.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Really?
Right.
She's not already thinking. She's not already thinking. Wait, why is he filling me up? He's not my friend. Why?
Yeah.
It does. It just absolutely
Well,
doesn't make
we
sense.
know
And I saw that.
We know it's all a lie, so.
Oh, well, sure, yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I know it's hard to remember that. Well, it's not that it's hard to
Mhm.
remember it, but you get into it so much that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to find a Kleenex for my poor nose. Sorry. I need to
Let me
mute
know
for a
when you're
second.
ready.
Okay,
Okay.
hold on. I gotta blow my nose.
Yeah, I've just found this so disingenuous, and
Yeah.
you got to wonder if the jury picked up on that right away, because I sure did.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I Daniel did call her mother for her, you know.
Right?
It's just the breast cupping never happened or any of the other sexual acts.
Yeah, that's.
Well, no.
I think
Talked about.
that's about the only thing that happened that was true out of that whole story is that Daniel actually did call her mum.
Yeah. And he sat there and talked to her, you know, and
Yeah.
tried to befriend her and you know,
Well,
give her
to
some
me,
good advice.
yeah, everything I've heard so far is just a decent cop trying to make sure somebody is okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You know, even them trying to make it sound, nefarious in that he's asking her about selling the drugs at this place or that place or this place.
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
Exactly. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I don't know Daniel personally, but my thought is that he was just trying to start up conversation with her, and it was maybe a concern rather than a
Yeah.
Why do you go to these places? Why do you sell stuff there? Sort of thing. No, what are you doing? Selling stuff at these places. Do you see what I mean by that? It all goes
Yeah.
with the tone, sort of thing, And to me, it was just Daniel being concerned, trying to start a conversation.
Mm-hmm. I agree, Alice.
Okay.
You ready?
I'm back. I'm ready. Sorry about that.
Okay, sure. And so you didn't know his name whenever you talked to your mom?
Oh, I got on the wrong page. No, so I was just like, his name is Mr. Officer.
And you said that you kind of saw his name on his badge. What could you make out of his name on his badge?
I knew it looked like Hyde, and then it was something like that. I seen a C, but I really couldn't just put it together because the way it was spelled, it just looked like something I'd never seen before.
How did your mother react whenever you told her that your friend was going to?
She laughed at me a little bit. She was like, Darion, you's high. I was like,
Judge, I would object.
no, Mama, I'm not.
Sustained.
And then
Let me ask another question, Ms. Hill. After the phone call, did you and this police officer continue to interact with one another?
after the phone call, I believe he called her again for me, and he had told her like, no, her bond, she going to jail, but she's not going to have a high bond or something like that. He had told her.
So this time the officer spoke directly to your mom?
Yes.
Okay. You told me earlier, Ms. Hill, that at some point this officer had touched your breast while trying to move your hospital gown. Did he do anything else to your body while you were in the second room?
Yes, he did. Shortly after that, he hung up the phone and he walked in front of the bed. And first of all, he did this. He was right. He sat at at the desk and he was writing. And then, and like as I'm him, I'm God. He can't.
I'm
Ah,
the door.
This is not
yeah.
real.
And now I'm
Oh.
Officer Holtzclaw.
I'm sorry. I never claimed to be a professional. Oh God. And like as I'm him, I'm writing on the desk and the bed is right here. And I'm my legs is oh whoops. And he keep looking like and my legs is I'm in a bed and I got the gown on, but I didn't think he was coming on to me. I just thought he was nice
Okay.
at this point. So
Ms. Hill, let me make sure I
uh,
understand. Whenever he was sitting at the desk, is that at the foot of the bed or side of the bed?
it's the foot of the bed,
Okay.
but he was more towards the side of it because the desk, the counter, the sink and stuff is what he was writing on over here.
So he was at the sink, which was kind of off to the side and to the foot of your bed?
Yes.
And were you laying in your hospital bed or sitting in it or
I was laying in it, but I was relaxed and I had my legs kind of they weren't all the way up. They was just up a little bit
were your legs bent?
bent.
Okay.
And so I see him keep making eye contact towards, he's not looking at my face. I could tell where he's looking. So I'm like, I tried to play asleep because I'm really trying to see, is he really looking at what I think he's looking at or trying to look at? God.
And he is looking between your legs
Yes, ma'am.
and you're not wearing underwear at this point.
No, ma'am.
Does he catch you looking at him?
I'm not sure if he really even cared if I was looking because I believe he felt like I was so high that he could look.
Judge, I would object to anything.
Sustained.
And Ms. Hill, did he say anything to you at this point?
No, he didn't.
And what happened next?
So as I lay on the bed, I'm like, I'm about to play like I'm asleep. This when I'm thinking, this what I'm thinking, so I can really know this is really what's going on because I really wouldn't be expecting this. So I'm laying in the bed and I play asleep and I'm looking and I'm seeing him going back and forth, trying to see everything that he could see. And shortly after that, he gets up or whatever. I see that's what he's doing or whatever. And he started, woke up or whatever, and we start talking again. And then Jesus,
Oh, this is embellished, isn't it, from her other
it
testimony?
sure is a lot.
Oh my God.
We
And
never
what
heard
were you
none of
talking about?
this.
And what were you talking about this time, Ms. Hill?
I'm not really. We was just having conversation. It could have been about the same stuff. Oh, he told me it was like, well, if you corroborate with me,
If you corroborate?
yes, God damn it. If you corroborate with me, I can make these charges go away within a month. He was like, just trust me. So I'm like, what do you mean?
Did he tell you how he was going to make your charges go away in a month?
No, he didn't tell me right then. He really didn't ever tell me how they were going to go away.
Did he use the word corroborate?
Yes, or I believe he used corroborate, but He could have used like any word in that matter, saying like, just go with it, it'll go away. So I'm like, what do you mean trust you? What do you mean? Because I'm like, trust you, and they're gonna go away. I'm like, okay. I'm feeling like by this time, like he could be telling the truth, because I'm feeling like he's friendly. He called my mama for me, so I'm like, okay, maybe he can. So he's like, just trust me, just trust me. I'm like, I never trusted a cop. I never trusted a cop, is how I was saying it. I was like, oh, that's when we were having the conversation about too. I was like, I'm a schoolgirl. I'm a schoolgirl. I don't know about drugs. I don't know.
Hell, God.
And is he still at the foot of, like, next to that sink area that you told me about when you were having this conversation?
Uh-huh.
What happened? What happens next?
And then after that situation, that's when he called my mom the second time.
Oh, okay.
And then after he came back around the bed, that's when he came to the front of the bed and he stuck his hand in my private.
Okay. And you told me earlier that you're wearing this hospital gown. Does his hand go underneath your gown or over the top?
It's underneath the gown, and he went straight in. I didn't have on any underwear, and he went in, and when he came out, when he went, I gasped. I gasped. I didn't expect that, because he just did it out of nowhere.
And I know you said he stuck it in your private. I'm not trying to embarrass you, Miss Hill. Do you mean your vagina?
Yes,
No,
ma'am.
no, no. It was, it was her shoulder. God, fucking people.
And what did he stick in your vagina?
He stuck his fingers in my vagina.
And you said you weren't really expecting it. Is that something that you wanted to happen?
No, ma'am.
Is that something that was okay with you?
No, ma'am.
Uh, Adams, just object to the form of the question as leading.
The court. Okay, don't lead the witness.
May she respond to the question I asked, Judge?
Overruled. You can answer.
No, you skipped.
Ask another question. Sorry, ask another question.
You said that wasn't what you wanted to happen. Were you all right with that?
Judge, again, I object. She just restated the leading question and said that was all right, and I object.
Overruled. You can answer.
No,
What?
no, he overrules it?
Now he overrules it. Oh my God. What a dick. Okay. Oh God. Okay. At the time, because I'm thinking about like these charges. I don't want to be charged. And I was thinking like he did that, and I was like, and then I just didn't say nothing or do anything because I couldn't really believe it. But I'm still thinking about him saying, if you corroborate, these charges will go away in a month, and just trust him.
Is that why
Wow.
you didn't call? Well, did you call the nurses' station?
No, I didn't. I didn't even really know how to call the nurses station.
Are you still nurses and doctors? Were they coming in the second room at this point?
No, ma'am.
Did he say anything whenever he did that?
No, he didn't.
You told me that he had touched your breast over your gown whenever he was trying to pull it up. Is that something that happened one time or more than one time?
It happened more than one time. It happened maybe like 3 times.
Okay. Was it always the same motion that you showed me when he's grabbing your breasts while pulling your gown up?
Yes.
And what type of things was he saying when he did that the other 2 times?
He every time that he told me that my gown was He just told me that it's down and he was trying to just, he didn't say he was trying to help me. He just was like, your titties are showing, or, something in that matter, like your breasts are showing, your titties. I don't know which one he used, but he said that and said that they was showing and he would just pull it up.
You said that you weren't sure whether he said your titties are showing or your breasts are showing. But you're sure that he said one of those two words?
One of those two words.
Did he have any other contact with your body?
Yes, shortly after he came in, stood to my left side, and he pulled his pants down. And I think first he made me rub it first.
Well, and let me make sure I understand, Miss Hill, before you tell me about that. Was he wearing what we call a police uniform?
Yes, ma'am.
Did he have a gun belt on while he was in your hospital room?
Yes, ma'am.
Did he leave that gun belt on or off whenever he came to the side of your bed and exposed himself?
I believe he took it off
Where did he put it?
on on the chair that was over there.
And did he expose his penis to you? Is that what you were telling me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you said he kind of rubbed it. By rubbing it, do you mean he rubbed his penis?
No, I rubbed. My hand was rubbed on the
Okay. How did how did your hand rub his penis?
just oh God, just touched like the knot.
Okay. Was that something that he made you do by pulling your hand over or something you did on your own?
Well, he had my hand as, I was just going with the flow and touched it.
So that was before he exposed his penis?
Yes.
Okay.
And eventually after it was pulled down a little bit up under his, genital area, and I couldn't do too much because he was telling me like the whole time that I was in bed to lay back so that monitor would go off to where the nurses would come in to check on me.
That's what he's saying to you while his penis is exposed. Even she doesn't believe it.
She's like, what? Sorry.
This is new. This is new.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm saying this to say that, or, well, no, I'm saying this to say that, I couldn't do too much because if I'd done too much movement, because he would tell me, like, if you do it, like, I couldn't do too. First of all, he said he wanted to do it, was telling me that he want to do it, or could I do it or something. And
Was this, he said, could you do it? Was that before or after he exposed his penis to you?
no, he was saying he could do it, but he can't because he's on the clock. So he would say that he couldn't do certain things, but would do it or whatever. And so anyway, he pulled that down and he just told me, he was grabbing my head and pulled it toward his,
With his hand?
yes, pulled it toward his genital area. And I mean, I gave him oral.
His penis went in your mouth.
Yes. And I was going, he was like, haha, you never sucked a white dick before.
That's what the police officer said to you?
Yes. And when he said that, that threw me off. And that's really why I just stopped, because I was just thinking like, what is this? It like turned me off. I just couldn't even do it no more. Wow.
She was turned on then?
That exactly. That sounds
Yeah.
a little bad.
How long was his penis in your mouth, Miss Hill?
It was in there like I went up and down on him maybe like 5, 6 times.
Sorry. And whenever he said the comment about repeat what he said after,
He said, "Ha ha, you never sucked a white dick before."
whenever he said that, is that what made the contact stop?
I have to pause, guys. Sorry, one of my little grandkids just walked in my room and opened the door.
Oh, oh,
This
okay,
is not grandchildren's material. I'll be right back.
right,
No, this is
okay.
this is rated a little rated R ish. Moving to X.
Yeah.
It's quite.
Quite the story, isn't it?
It's quite well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. It's like she thinks that maybe she thinks she can sell it, but I mean, this whole section on the page before, her story was so contrived and confusing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But not only that, I mean, just that one bit there, ha ha, you've never
Yeah.
sucked a white dick. You know what I mean? It's like, what? You know what I mean? If she's supposed to be a prostitute, of course she sucked White Willie before. You know what I mean?
Well, she never had any prostitution charges, to be fair.
Or did she not?
But
Oh,
still,
well.
she's got lots of baby daddies.
It's just, it's ridiculous. You know what I mean? The thing she's coming out with. And like this would happen in a hospital room where anybody could walk in at any time.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. And I mean the bit where she doesn't know how to call the nurses. Open your door and go, excuse me, hen, I need you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
Yeah. Scream.
Ah.
Yell.
exactly. I'm being assaulted. You know what I mean? It's just it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is pretty crazy.
Okay, when
and
you say, sorry,
go ahead.
I was going to start reading again. You have something
Yeah,
else?
you're fine. What line? I'm lost.
21.
Okay.
When you say that he said, ha ha, was he laughing or was he actually saying words, ha ha?
I believe he was laughing. Ha ha, you never sucked a white dick before.
What was his tone whenever he said that or his demeanor?
I feel like he was doing it to like punish me. That's how I feel like. Like he got me doing something that, he wasn't doing it for in a sexual way to make it feel.
Miss Hill, let me ask you this question. After after you stopped the contact with his penis, what did he do? Did he put his belt back on?
Yes, I believe he pulled it back up and that situation was over with.
You said that this police officer had told you that he would try to make your charges go away in a month. Did he say he was still going to have to take you to jail?
Yes.
And why did he say he was going to jail?
He said he was going to have to take me to jail because he already ran my name. Doesn't make
Did you know
sense.
what that meant?
Yeah, I knew that he already ran my name to where I guess, however the system is, knew that I was supposed to come to jail, so he had to take me.
And Miss Hill, had you given him your name prior to this at some point?
I had gave him on the scene, I had gave him my sister's name, my twin sister's name.
And what's her name?
Her name is Shardayreon Hill.
Shardayreon Hill.
Yes, ma'am.
Did this police officer learn at some point that you hadn't given him the correct name?
I believe so.
Do you know how he found that out?
Because they had my wallet, my purse was in the truck, and I'm sure they found that and seen my ID in my wallet.
You also told me, Ms. Hill, about some comments that the police officer was making about your gown drooping or your breasts or titties showing, I think is what you told me.
Yes.
Did he say anything else sexual to you?
Yes, he told me that he was like, he said, I want to pull my pant down my pants and fuck you and nut all in you. God.
When did he say that?
He said that this was in between times when he was touching my breasts and going to the bathroom. And what? And this is when he was saying like, I want to, but I can't because I'm on the clock. I'm on the clock. But he would still, after that, try little things. And that's like the incident when have me to give him oral.
And the times that this police officer touched your breasts, is that something that you wanted to happen, Miss Hill?
No, ma'am. That's something I wouldn't have came about to try to come with him. With him. Wait, I gotta read that again.
Yeah.
No, ma'am. That's something that I wouldn't have came about to try to come with him with. The only reason why it happened is because he was telling me, I feel like he was trying to talk to me to reel me in, get me comfortable with him to be able to go ahead and do it because I was at that time I knew what was going on, but I just kind of I believed in him. Like I was like it made me like the high made me feel like I was comfortable, like I could trust him.
Oh my God.
And
Oh,
you also told me, Miss Hill, about
like it made me naive a little bit.
it made you not what?
Naive, like to believe like how he was coming at me. I felt like he was trying to get my trust.
And you told me that about when he put his penis in your mouth. Is that something that you wanted to happen?
No, ma'am. I mean, it was done because he told me that. What?
And did you feel like these sexual acts between you and this police officer were of a consensual sexual nature between the two of you?
Like willingly?
Uh huh.
No, ma'am.
And you told me earlier that you didn't really think it was about sex. What did you feel it was about?
Judge, I would object. Speculation.
Sustained.
After
I'm
these things
sorry. I'm,
happened,
I'm sorry, Susan. I was laughing there. I had to stop laughing. T1's joined
Oh,
us in chat.
Oh
oh
And he
boy.
says,
Jesus.
hospital?
81.
Where the fuck is that hospital? I'm asking for a friend.
Oh,
Oh
you
my
need a
God.
badge. You need a badge, T1. Get away with this. After
Yeah,
these
what
things
did he
happened, sorry,
No, go ahead.
after these things happened in the second room, were you at some point discharged from the hospital?
No, ma'am. I was taken to the county jail, Oklahoma City County Jail.
But you left the hospital and went to the county jail?
That's what she just said. Right. He escorted me to his police car and was driving me. And on the way there was conversation. And when I'm sitting in the back of the police car, he's telling me still to trust him, and these charges will be gone in a month. So
Did you tell?
I'm sitting in the back of the police car and I'm like, trust you? What do you mean trust you? Like you're taking me to jail.
And this time, did he tell you how he was going to get your charges to go away in a month?
He told me something like the DAs are going to call him. Basically, I took it as if the DAs called him to come to trial or court. He's not going to come, so that's he wouldn't be able to tell what that's what happened. So if he wouldn't do that, the charges wouldn't stick. That's how I took it.
Okay, that makes total sense.
Right.
Jesus.
And before you left and got in his police car to eventually go to the county jail, Did you see any medical staff that worked at the hospital after you left the second room?
When I made it to the county, I was speaking with the nurse, and
Was that nurse at the county jail or at the hospital?
she was at the county jail
And why did you see a nurse at the county jail?
because it was a check that they do every time you go into the check for blood pressure and everything like that.
Did the nurse ask you something?
Yes,
Readings.
she she was doing everything she was doing, and she asked me.
Judge, I would object to anything the nurse may have asked her as hearsay.
Response?
It's not offered for the truth of the matter asserted, Your Honor.
Come up.
Judge, my question was what the nurse said. My anticipation is that this witness is going to say that the nurse asked, had she been sexually assaulted in the last 24 hours? This witness is going to say, I told her no. The nurse's statements is clearly not offered for the truth, just to show that she was asked about it and this witness's response to the nurse.
So the statement is offered for what purpose?
Giger, to show her response in that she didn't tell anyone. It's not offered to show that she was sexually assaulted. I mean, she answered in the negative at the time. Adams, same objection. It's clear hearsay.
The court. Well, it appears that you're asking to get a statement in for the truth of the statement, whether you were sexually assaulted within the last 24 hours, not the truth of her answer. So sustained.
Did you tell the nurse that you were sexually assaulted?
Adams, a judge again object as leading.
I'm going to sustain that. You can rephrase the question.
What did you tell the nurse whenever you came into contact with her?
I didn't tell her anything.
I can't hear you. I'm sorry, Miss Hill.
I didn't tell her anything. She was just asking me questions, and she was just asking me questions like, am I suicidal?
Adams, judge again, I'm going to object to anything that the nurse may have said.
All right. You can't testify to what somebody else said.
Okay.
Miss Hill, did you tell anyone at the county jail, including this nurse, anything that happened with you and the police officer?
I told people in the holding cell what happened.
Okay. Did you tell this nurse?
I didn't tell the nurse because it's still in my head that he's going to help me. So
Let me ask you this, Miss Hill. Whenever you made contact with this nurse, where was the police officer?
the police officer was standing behind her, and he had some files of mine open. I believe that's what he had.
Was he within earshot of you and the nurse?
Yes, ma'am.
After your conversation with the nurse, what happened next?
After she asks what she asked, and I believe the certain questions that she asked is the reason why he stood there to see what I would say.
Oh
And
my God.
I said no to all of her questions. And when I said no to all of them, he closed the book up, and he came around her and the desk, and he came back around, and he told me to come here, and he sat me on the benches that's going like when you're getting ready to go get booked out of the county. It's like it's the bench over there. He sat me over there.
Well, this is a new story.
Yep.
Before she said he just walked out.
Yep.
Huh. Was it just the two of you on this bench?
Yes.
Okay. And did he say anything to you at that point?
He told me that. He said, I hid your tickets for you, and I made your bond super fucking cheap. That's how he said it.
Oh my God.
When he said he hid your tickets, were you aware that you had some tickets?
Yes.
And what kind of tickets did you have, Miss Hill?
They were city tickets. It was about $4,000, maybe of it. And he told me he hid them so that I could get out of the county faster.
Okay. Did he tell you how he hid them?
No, he didn't. He just told me he hid them, and eventually he did hide them because I was able to get out of the county jail without
Object. I don't believe.
dealing with those.
Hang on just a second.
Adams, it's non-responsive, Your Honor.
Sustained.
I'll move on, Judge. Did you eventually bond out of jail, Miss Hill?
Yes, ma'am.
And how long did that take?
I went to jail December 20th. I got out on Christmas Day, the 25th. The reason why it would have been faster than that because I had posted bond that day.
Judge, I object as non-responsive to the question is how long did it take her to get out?
All right, sustained.
Who bonded you out, Miss Hill?
My mother.
After you bonded out on December 25th, 2013, at that point, did you tell anyone about what had happened between you and this police officer?
Yes, ma'am.
Who did you tell?
I told my sister. I told my mom. I told my cousins. I was telling everybody. I was telling everybody because it just seemed like so unreal to me. It seemed like I just was in a movie or something.
Did you tell any police officers about what had happened at that point?
No, I didn't.
Why didn't you tell any law enforcement?
I didn't tell any law enforcement because I didn't feel like they would believe me. I didn't go. And then at the same time, I still had in my head that I didn't want these charges and that they was going to be gone. And so I'm just at this time just waiting to see like what's if they going to be gone in a month.
At some point, did this police officer reach out and contact you again?
Yes.
Tell me how that happened.
He found me, which he told me that he was going to find me on Facebook.
He had told you that previously?
Yes, he had told me.
When did he tell you that?
He was like, I'll find you because telling me that he was going to change this. I'm like, how are you going to know like where to find me like to make sure this happened? How do I know this is going to happen for me? He said, I'll find you.
And where were you whenever he made that comment to you?
I believe we was in the police car. We could have been in the police car or we could have had this conversation in the hospital room.
When he said he would
Judge.
find you, did he tell you he would specifically find you on Facebook? Or did he just say he would find you?
He was just like, he'll find me. And I'm thinking, okay, maybe because he a police officer, he would know how to find me.
So, did he find you on Facebook?
Yes, ma'am.
About how long was it after you got out of the county jail on Christmas Day before?
I got out Christmas Day. This was maybe like the second week, could be the third week in January. It was in January sometime.
And
But it wasn't like right after I got out. It was like a few weeks.
when you say he found you on Facebook, what does that mean?
He found me when he requested to be my friend on Facebook
How did you know when you got this friend request that it was a police officer?
because I remembered how he looked and when by this time he don't even look like he looked when I was high. Sorry. Pretty typical though. But I still remember like the shape and the face, because I was kind of like blurry.
Was this the first time that you really learned his complete name?
Yes.
And what was his name?
His name was Daniel Holtzclaw on Facebook.
And whenever he friend requested you were telling me you knew it was him because it looked like it. Is there a picture that pops up?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you accept his friend request?
Yes, I did.
And did the two of you communicate on Facebook?
Yes, ma'am.
How'd, how do you communicate on Facebook?
I just told him, like, it's about time that he found me because I was still waiting. I was waiting because I've been waiting to see how long these charges are about to get dismissed.
Can you, is there a chat feature on Facebook?
Is there a what?
A chat feature, CHAT.
Yes,
And is there like a,
it's Messenger.
okay.
It's a messenger through the inbox.
Can you send messages back and forth to people that you're friends with on Facebook?
Yes.
Are those messages something that anyone who is friends with you can access?
No.
Or you can access those messages?
Uh, no, only
Oh,
me and him can see. Oh,
who can access? Okay. Okay, like,
because it's in inbox. It's not on the timeline where everyone can see.
and when he contacted you on Facebook and he started communicating on Facebook, did you exchange phone numbers?
Yes, he gave me his cell phone number. It was a 580 number, and he was telling me to call him on that number, and I was telling him, let's talk on Facebook because, let's talk on Facebook. He said he didn't want to talk on Facebook. He wanted to talk on the phone.
And so, did you also start communicating
Uh-huh.
via phone calls?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you talk on the phone, like in actual phone calls?
Yes.
Did you text message back and forth?
Yes.
Did you communicate in any other way besides on Facebook, through phone calls and through text messages?
Not mainly on the phones and texts and Facebook. And then I had one face to face with him after the jail situation.
Okay. And I was just fixing to ask you about that, Ms. Hill. Did you ever see the police officer, Daniel Holtzclaw, in person?
Yes, ma'am.
And that was after your hospital stay when he booked you into the county jail. You saw him an additional time?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Tell me about how that happened.
He had texted me and, to see what I was doing and stuff. And he asked me, could he come see me? And I had told him, like, yeah. And
Where did you tell him that he could see you at?
he could come to my mom's house.
Okay. And were you living with your mom at that point in time?
Yes, ma'am.
And whenever you told him that, did he come to your mom's house?
Yes, ma'am. He was texting me and he told me that he was at the outlet mall, was shopping, and that he would come when he was done. And he texted me when he was done. And he told me that he was on his way. And so when he came, I went outside and he pulled up, and it was like a Chrysler looking car.
Had you seen this car before?
No, ma'am.
Whenever you first made contact with him at Liberty Station, was he in a regular police car?
He was in a regular police car.
What did his police car look like at Liberty Station?
His police car, I believe it was one of the new ones. It was one of the new ones, like the all black.
What, with white lettering on it?
Right.
When he came to your mom's house, first of all, did he park in your mom's driveway or somewhere else?
He parked, we used the neighbor's driveway, so he didn't park directly in our driveway. He parked over in the next door neighbor's driveway because we park our cars over there too. So he pulled in and I went out there and I got in the car.
And the vehicle that he drove over near your mom's house, was that a vehicle you had seen before?
No, ma'am.
Did it look to be a personal vehicle?
Yes,
And describe to me what it looked like.
it was a nice silver car. It looked so nice that, and it had rims on it. I didn't think it was a Chrysler, but I'm thinking that's what it was.
A sedan?
Huh?
A sedan?
Is that what it is?
I'm asking you.
I'm not sure what the car is named of it, but it looked like a shape of a Chrysler. It was nice though. It was silver.
Did it have 4 doors?
Yes, it had four doors and it had rims on it.
What? What?
She's obsessed with those fucking rims, man.
Clearly.
Was anyone with him?
No, ma'am.
And where's your mom's house located back in December of 2013?
The address is 81st Street in Oklahoma City.
Is that in Oklahoma City?
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Yes, ma'am.
Is it in Oklahoma County?
Yes, ma'am.
Did he come into your mom's house at that point?
No, he didn't come inside. I went outside. It was the kids. I'd left the kids in there, so I didn't want him to come in and stuff. I just went out because I was believing we was about to talk about what was going to happen with my case because that's what I was concerned about.
And you said you left some kids inside at your mom's house. Were there any other adults besides you at your mom's house during this event?
Oh my God. Oh, I
This-
wish I could
this
get
is-
to my buzzer right now.
This is different.
I need my
Yeah.
buzzer. I believe my sister or my grandma was up there.
Did you tell them that you were going out to meet this police officer outside?
I believe they knew because, like everybody was shocked. Like when I was telling everybody the story and
And were you supposed to be watching the children inside your mom's house?
uh-huh.
And so when you went out to meet him, did you get inside his personal car,
Oh my
or did you
God.
stay outside?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I got inside the car. I got in the passenger seat.
Okay. And did the two of you talk?
Yes.
What did you talk about?
I kind of wanted to talk about the case. I was like, you thought I swallowed. Wait, what? Whoa.
What?
You thought I swallowed it. You thought I swallowed the. Oh, okay. Sorry. Oh, good. It wasn't just me. Sorry. I'm going to start line 22 over.
Yeah, get your mind kind of out of the gutter for now. It's gonna go back.
Mine went there too.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Me too. Me too.
Jesus. Okay. Line 22. I kind of wanted to talk about the case. I was like, you thought I swallowed it. You thought I swallowed the. He was like, you did. So we just.
Meaning the PCP.
Yeah. So I think it went through her mind too.
Yes.
Clearly.
Oh, geez. Yeah. So we kind of talked about that a little bit, but he really wasn't trying to talk about the case.
What was he trying to talk about?
He was trying to talk about sex.
What did he say about sex?
He was telling me like trying to talk me into it, like, come on, let's, I'm trying to fuck or whatever.
That's what he said to you?
He wanted to fuck me, and he said, what I remember is he said, you can bend over in the front seat and I'll come out and fuck me. However, he was saying that he was going to be behind me. He was going to fuck me.
Is that something that you wanted to do, Miss Hill?
No, that's nothing that he was trying, like, force me because he kept asking. Kept on telling him, I can't. I got kids in the house.
That was your response to him?
Yes.
And after you said, I can't, what did he do?
He just kept on telling me, come on, like, come on. Just kept on saying, trying to get me to do it. And I kept on telling him, like, after so long, I'm just like, I'm thinking to myself, like, this is the police. Like, I got kids in the house. He's supposed to,
And what about grandma and your uh, aunt or whoever else was in there?
Sister.
yeah.
Sister. Was he in uniform during this time, Ms. Hill?
No, he wasn't. He had on a pair of sweats, and I can't remember what type of shirt. I believe it could have been a sweatsuit.
After you say no to sexual intercourse with Mr. Holtzclaw, does he ask you for any other sexual favors?
Yes, to give him oral.
Okay, and what did he say specifically, if you remember?
He just pulled out he just pulled it out.
His penis?
Yes.
Is that something that you wanted to see, Miss Hill?
Well, to be fair, most of us don't want to see it. Sorry. No, I didn't ask him to see it or nothing because I wasn't attracted to him. I didn't want to do nothing with him. I really wanted to talk about the case, and I didn't expect for him to get there and want to have sex, and especially in the car. Oh, because she's probably
And when he exposed his penis to you, was it erect?
like hard.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
And did he say anything to you about what he wanted you to do with his penis?
Yes. He told me that he wanted me to suck his dick.
What did you say to that?
I kept on telling him, like, I can't. The kids is in the house. And then so after so long, and he just kept on trying to get me to do it, I was just like, I gotta go. And on top of that, I really wasn't comfortable because I kept calling the kids, letting them know, like, I'm just outside, like I'm trying to have more of a reason to really why I can't do it, like the kids, and letting him know, like, the kids is on the phone, they in the house, they want me to come back in. So eventually, after he kept asking me to do it, I was just like, I gotta go. So I car and I went back up to the house with the kids.
This is new.
Wow, that's new. Yep.
Did you ever see or did you ever have face-to-face contact with him again after this incident, Miss Hill?
No, that was after that. It was still text messages and stuff.
And Miss Hill, let me ask you this. Did you ever tell anyone about this event that happened with him outside your mom's house?
Yeah,
Who did you tell?
my mom and them knew. They all knew that he came over there.
You told your mom?
Yeah.
Did you also tell your twin sister, Shardayreon?
Yes.
At that point, did you report to law enforcement about what was happening?
No, I didn't.
Your Honor, at this time, I would move to admit a stipulation previously signed by counsel.
Let me see it.
And if you could tell me what court's number we are on as well, Judge.
Number 5.
May I read it to the jury?
You may. All right, ladies and gentlemen, again, that's a stipulation. That's an agreement between the parties that the stipulation is what it represents, and you can accept that as fact.
Thank you, Your Honor. May I approach the witness?
You may.
Ms. Hill, I'm handing you what's marked as a State's Exhibit 116 through 121. If you'll take a look at these and just tell me if you recognize them.
I do recognize these. These are,
Just look through the rest of them to make sure.
yeah, this is the front page of,
And Ms. Hill, just briefly, how do you recognize these?
this is the home page of my Facebook.
And they are the Facebook contact that you had with Mr. Holtzclaw?
Yes, and the messages.
Okay, Your Honor, the state would move to admit States Exhibit 116 through 121.
No objection, Your Honor.
All right. States exhibit numbers 116, 117, 118, 119, 120, and 121 will be admitted without objection.
Thank you, Your Honor. May I publish?
You may.
Ms. Hill, I'm showing you what's marked as States Exhibit 116. I'll zoom in there. Can you see it on the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell the jury what we're looking at in States Exhibit 116.
This is the homepage of my Facebook. When you click to my name, this is what it shows. Court.
Again, talking away and bloody muted. Ma'am, when you turn away, it makes it really difficult to hear over here on this side of the room. So that, thank you.
This is my
Oh, sorry.
This is my, when you go to my name and click on my name, this is what shows up, my home screen page.
Okay, and looking at States Exhibit 117, and I'll zoom in, does this represent the Facebook communication that you had with Mr. Holtzclaw?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I don't know if you can you read the dates at all that the messages are sent on, Ms. Hill?
It looks like it says 1-8.
If the first message sent from Mr. Holtzclaw was on January 8th to you, does that sound about right from the time that you bounded out of jail?
Yes, that could have been.
I believe it says 1-8 at 1:51 a.m.
Uh-huh.
And earlier you had told me, Ms. Hill, that you had been expecting Mr. Holtzclaw to Facebook message you
Yes, ma'am.
or to find you.
Find me, yes.
So this first message here that says, "Damn, took you long enough. I've been waiting, LOL. You still got my number, right? Is that because you thought that Mr. Holtzclaw would find you?"
Right.
Here, where Mr. Holtzclaw asks, "Is this your sister's account?" What is he referring to?
Because I believe he didn't remember me saying that I was Shardayreon. He could have been confused and was just trying to make sure that I was, who I really was.
And do you reference that in your next message also on January 8th when you say your twin is Shardayreon?
Yes.
This number that you give on this message that I'm pointing to on January 8th of 4316539, what number is that?
That was my cell phone number at the time.
Have you ever had a police officer Facebook friend or message you before, Ms. Hill?
No, ma'am.
In context with the Facebook message that was sent on January 8th at 1:51 a.m., when in relation to that did Mr. Holtzclaw come over to your mother's house?
I believe it was like after this. It wasn't like soon. Could have been maybe around like a few days later after that.
Okay, could it have been the next day?
It could. I don't think it was. I believe it was around like maybe like the 13th or something like that.
Do you remember talking to Detective Gregory about this message, this Facebook message, and Mr. Holtzclaw coming over to your mom's house before?
Yes.
Was your memory better then, or is it better now?
It was better then, because it was more fresh, but, I do remember the main things.
If you told Detective Gregory it was the next day, would you have any reason to quibble over that?
No, it could have been the next day. I just don't know how long. Like our messages was to, I believe whenever he gave me his number on here, it was after that.
Okay, and I'll show you states. I'll show you states 118 now, Ms. Hill. This number under Daniel Holtzclaw, the 580 number, is that the number that you communicated with Mr. Holtzclaw at?
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know. Can you read the dates? They're really faint. I know, Ms. Hill, but it looks like the text, these messages extend through February. Were you still texting him in February of 2013 as well?
Yes.
Okay. Here on this message on February 17th, where he says, making sure you're doing okay, staying out of trouble. Is that something that you'd experienced from a police officer before?
No, ma'am.
Showing you states 119. This number that was encompassed in a message sent to Mr. Holtzclaw on February 19th of 5436765. Is that a number that Mr. Holtzclaw texted to you as well?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you have phone calls on that number?
Yes. Yes.
Here where you asked Mr. Holtzclaw, well, tell him that you went back to jail and they made my charges with intent. What was your intent in telling Mr. Holtzclaw about that?
I'm sorry. What was?
Yes, on that message that I just referenced. I don't know if you can read it, Ms. Hill. Tell me if you can and I'll try to make it larger. Can you see it?
Uh-huh.
Okay. You say, went back to jail and they made my charge with intent. What were you intent in telling Mr. Holtzclaw about that?
Okay, is she this stupid? Uh, what were you intended? The,
Why were you telling them they made the charge with intent?
yeah, but oh, never mind. That's just the way she phrases that.
Yeah, it's
What were
really
you
weird.
intent in telling Mr. Holtzclaw about? She wasn't intent on telling him anything. She was telling him the frickin' charges were now with intent. What an
Correct.
idiot.
Right.
God. Okay. Because he asked me, as it says, how'd court go? And I just told him, and I'm thinking, I just told him they made it in 10. So I don't even really see nothing even working right now at this point.
And his response was, huh? And what?
I don't know why he said that, I guess.
And
Yeah.
just to be clear, Ms. Hill, whenever you said they made my charge with intent, what does with intent mean? Can you explain that to the jury?
What she really means is, can you explain that to me? Because
To
I don't
me,
understand.
exactly.
Oh, geez. I didn't know what it meant. I just knew that's what the charge was because I knew that when I went to jail, it was just a possession. So I knew that it had changed. So that's what I was letting him know. But it seemed like it was getting worser and it's not, nothing's happening.
Intent means she was going to sell it, right?
That's right.
Yes.
With intent to sell.
That's a
Yeah.
felony. Big time.
Yes. Yes. Yes, exactly.
So whenever you're telling him that they made my charge with intent. You're telling him it's getting worse?
Of course she knew it.
Right.
Okay. And then on states 120, it's Mr. Holtzclaw's message continued. He said, how'd you go back to jail?
And what was your question?
Oh my God.
Is that what he responded to you?
Right.
And then later on, you tell him, my bond went up and the bondsman got off my bond.
Right.
He gives you his cell phone number again. Why does he do that, Ms. Hill?
Because he wanted me to call him.
And here does he say, you call me. I want to know what happened.
I didn't respond.
Did Mr. Holtzclaw ever want to discuss specifics about your criminal case on Facebook, or did he ever do so?
No, ma'am.
Whenever he discussed specifics about your criminal case, when would that ever have occurred?
Really never. Like that really wasn't even nothing that he ever really ever wanted to talk about. I think he was just on here, he was just trying to keep me coming to talk to him, like basically I feel like call me like he could feed me something just to keep time going with us to keep talking. Jesus.
And whenever you would bring up your criminal case, would he always tell you to call him on the phone?
Yes.
And then showing you states number 121. This bottom message that I'll enlarge for you, Miss Hill, looks like it was on April 30th. Is that around the last contact that you had with Mr. Holtzclaw? Can you see it?
What I said or what he said?
On what he said.
Yes, I was somewhere else and I was in prison somewhere else. And when I got out, I seen these texts. I seen that last text message.
Okay. And here on this last message that he sent to you, he's telling you about a warrant that you got out for your arrest.
Right.
And he's trying to tell you to get it taken care of because he's worried about you.
Right.
And you said that you went to jail sometime in between whenever he's sending you these Facebook messages.
Yes.
After you got out of jail, did you want to continue to have contact with Mr. Holtzclaw on Facebook or text or phone calls?
No, like as time passed, I would have felt like, it just would have blew over and just forgot about, like what brought him back, like what drew the attention to me is when I got out and I seen his text messages, but I didn't like reply or nothing. I so happened like not too long after I got out and just was going through my Facebook, I was scrolling down and I seen a news clipping about him accused of rape. And then I was just shocked. And then like I had got the butterflies when I seen it, and I was just like, this is crazy. And I told my mama, I was like, Mama, this is him. This is him.
I'm going to be rich.
Exactly.
Our personal ATM just showed up.
And Ms. Hill, I'm going to get you to go there in a second, but I just want to make sure whenever you stop communicating with Mr. Holtzclaw on Facebook and via text message and via phone call, was that before you went to jail the second time?
You said when was the last time?
Uh-huh.
It was before I had went to it was right before I had went to
Did you think that Mr. Holtzclaw was going to make good on his promise that your charges were going to be dropped or that it was going to go away?
Judge, I just object to the form of as leading.
after so long.
Hang on a second.
Oh, sorry.
Leading, Your Honor.
Okay, overruled. You could answer if you remember the question.
Jesus Christ.
Do you want me to state it again, Ms. Hill?
Yes, ma'am.
I think my question was, did you stop communicating with Mr. Holtzclaw in part because you thought that
Yes, because I felt like he's just trying keep on trying to conversate with me, and I'm just like, whatever. Like I just see it ain't even working because I done went back to jail, and you know what I'm saying? It's getting worser. So I'm like, but I didn't. I just felt like that was just
it's getting worse, meaning your criminal situation is getting worse?
yes, right.
Did you think did you think he was going to make good on his promise to drop your charges?
I thought he was, but as time keep passing, I'm seeing like nothing changed. Like he's not even trying to talk to me about what's going on. That's why after so long he put question marks and trying to get me to talk to him. By this time I'm kind of mad because I'm like I done did this and not just saying anything.
And we've talked about multiple ways that you and Mr. Holtzclaw had contact, but I want to make sure that I understand, Ms. Hill. The jury has seen the content of these Facebook messages in the exhibits that I've just shown you, but did he also send you text messages? And did you send him text messages on your cell phone?
Yes.
And those are two different things.
Right. The text messages on the phone would be him trying to get me to come to his house.
And may I approach the witness, Your Honor? Please, Your Honor. May I?
Mhm. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Hill, I'm handing you what's marked as State's Exhibit 122 through 124. Will you take a look at those and tell me if you recognize these?
Yes, ma'am.
And how do you recognize them?
This is the front of our house.
Well, just generally. Do they depict your mom's house
Right.
on 81st Street?
Right. And the neighbor's house where he parked.
Your Honor, the state moves to admit exhibits 122 through 124.
No objection, Your Honor.
Unmute.
You.
She's probably still laughing.
All right. States Exhibit 127, 122, 123, 124 will be admitted.
May I publish, Your Honor?
You
I'm here.
may publish.
Ms. Hill, I'm showing you what's marked as States Exhibit 122. What are we looking at there?
The front of my mom's house.
Okay, and that's where you were out with the kids whenever Mr. Holtzclaw came by?
Yes, ma'am. Ow.
I'm showing you States Exhibit 123. What do we see in that picture?
That's the neighbor's driveway where he was parked.
This blue house right here?
Yes, ma'am.
And right next door to it, is that your mom's house that we just saw?
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm showing you States Exhibit 124. What do we see there?
That's the driveway where he was parked when he came over.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Miss Hill, at some point, did you tell police about what had happened between you and Mr. Holtzclaw?
When I had got out of prison and I seen the clips, my mama had been trying to get me to come to.
When you say after you'd seen the clips, do you mean after you'd seen the news?
Right, because
Had you seen,
it was on Facebook. It was the news clippings that they have on Facebook.
had you seen Mr. Holtzclaw on the news or in clips on Facebook?
Yes, when I first got out and seen that, that was the first time.
And you said your mom had been encouraging you to come forward.
Right.
How long had she been encouraging you to come forward and say something?
She'd been telling me, like, she told me at first, but like,
Without telling me what she said, how long had she been trying to get you to do that?
she had told me, objection, Your Honor, hearsay. Oh, sorry. She had told me she had spoke about it before I had went off to prison and stuff. And she only can tell me what to do, so I just didn't take it upon my will to go ahead and go with it because I didn't feel like, I just really felt like I just took a while. It just like I just took a while. So I was just gonna try to forget about it and go on.
Uh-huh. What made you
Mhm.
decide to come forward after you saw Mr. Holtzclaw on the news?
Dollar signs. Uh, excuse me. Because after what I learned and what I was reading, I knew that when he had done that to me, I knew that, like, I knew it was more. And then I just couldn't believe that he was on there for rapes. And I'm like, he was doing this to people. He did this to more people than me. So that made me feel like I have more power and could have more support by other people going. And me knowing that I'm not a person that's going to make up anything on anybody, especially
Okay.
All right. Especially not a police officer to get myself involved in this, but I knew this is true. And I know if he did it to me, and I'm not a liar, and these people are saying he did the same thing to them, I know that it's true.
And
And that's what made me want to go ahead and come support. And that's what made me want to go ahead and come and support, because the things I was hearing was like worse than what he done to me. And I felt bad for those women that he had done that to, more than, I was affected by him doing me that way.
whenever you came forward and made a police report, was Detective Gregory, who's sitting to my right, was he the one you spoke with?
Yes, ma'am.
And the Facebook messages that we looked at with the jury today, did you share those with Detective Gregory as well?
Yes, ma'am.
And I don't think I asked you this earlier, Ms. Hill. If I did, I apologize. Southwest Medical Center, is it in Oklahoma City?
Yes, ma'am. It's on the southwest side of Oklahoma City.
Is it in Oklahoma County as well?
Yes, ma'am.
May I have a brief moment, Your Honor?
Yes.
May I approach the exhibits, Your Honor?
Yes.
Ms. Hill, I'm going to show you again States Exhibit 121. On some of these Facebook messages, on some of the other exhibits, do you do they actually bear out Daniel Holtzclaw's name? They say your name and then Daniel Holtzclaw's name.
On these ones?
May I approach the exhibits again, Your Honor?
Yes.
I'll show you States Exhibit 120, ma'am. Do these messages bear out Daniel Holtzclaw's name so you can tell that he's the one that you're messaging?
Yes, ma'am.
On States Exhibit 121, instead of showing Daniel Holtzclaw's name, does it say Facebook user?
Yes, ma'am.
Where it says Facebook user, are those the message that you sent back and forth with Daniel Holtzclaw?
Right.
At one time, did they say Daniel Holtzclaw instead of Facebook user?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll pass the witness. Judge, unmute.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's about 10:40, so we'll take our morning recess. Again, same admissions apply. Do not discuss the case. Don't let anyone discuss the case with you. Don't try to find out anything about the case. If anyone tries to talk to you about the case, report it to me or my staff immediately. Leave your notebooks in your seats, and we will be in recess until 11 o'clock.
You don't have to read the rest of that. I mean, you can if you
Right.
want to. If you'd like
All
to.
right,
But
thank you. We'll be in recess until 11. All right. Let the record reflect that all the members of the jury are present. Counsel for the state, counsel for the defendant, and the defendant is present. Miss McConnell, if you'd have your witness retake the stand.
Yes, Your Honor. May we briefly approach?
Yes.
Judge, I just wanted to move in limine at this time that whether it's Mr. Adams or Mr. Gray, that they not be allowed to go into prior arrests that Shardayreon Hill has excluding the pending case that she has, which I realize is relevant. Based on Title 12, Section 2609, only conviction is allowed for purposes of impeachment of a prior conviction unless the defense can show that there's some type of bias that they'd be trying to show by asking about her prior arrests.
I intend to, on getting into her convictions, Your Honor, there's been several arrests, but I have no intention, unless she denies something that, or she volunteers like she's been doing, but I intend on getting into.
Let me ask you one thing that I had a question on. She says she started contact. She said he started contacting her. Something about contacting after I got out of prison.
I'm going to explain all that.
Is that the prison or is that the county jail?
Yes, it's prison. I'm going to explain it.
Okay. Well, it would be improper to go into prior arrests.
I understand.
Okay, that's where we're going to stop for tonight. Because right after this, they actually go into cross
examination. Yeah.
Yeah. So when we come back the next time, I'll have to discuss with my team when we think that's going to be. But I'd like to make it no later than, well, if I could, I would do it Friday night, but I know that's not going to be okay because people are still going to be holidaying
Yeah,
after
that's my Thanksgiving.
Yeah, so I know we can't do it Friday. Saturday and Sunday are going to be out of the question. Monday's out of the question. So Tuesday is the earliest that I can do it. So that's a week away, which is normal. So if it works out for the rest of my panel, we will come back on Tuesday next week and do the cross-examination with Scott Adams. And then there's probably going to be redirect and all that horse crap. So, but it's going to be a while to do it, but we'll finish it up next Tuesday. If that works out for everybody. So, I feel bad. I've missed all of the chat. And I know that it had to be pretty entertaining. So,
Yeah, I like T1's. T1 says possibly a new cult, but this one offers Facebook friendships and BJs. Foul Play needs to step its game up.
Oh no, I should see if I can catch up with him. Catnit did a great job. Catnit and Neverly, hi Neverly. Looks like they both kind of chipped in and did a great job with explanations about PCP and its effects, long-term effects. Some of these things are way out of context. But I'll start here with T1. Aha! Finally found y'all. Yep, this is where we are. And apparently you came in at the wrong. He says, "What did I walk into there here?"
God.
I know. You obviously came in the wrong time.
Couple of spots could have really been some rated X moments. Seriously.
I know. And when I realized that my bedroom door had come open and my grandson had come in, he's only 9, you guys. And I was saying, it was right when I was saying the bad things, and yes. And then he's probably like, oh shit, what did I just walk into? He's going to be upstairs asking his mom questions now, and I'm going to be in trouble. No, my sign is on my door, which says it's a neon light that says on air. So he has to be responsible for what he heard, but still, oh my gosh. So, but yeah, I'm going to have a talk with his mom so that she can remind him that my content is not made for children in any way, shape, or form. So he cannot. They normally would knock before they would come in, or they just don't come in when my light's on. But whatever. And then T1 says, "Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Please proceed." He's taking notes. Yeah. I don't know what was found to be true. I'm guessing. Oh, Facebook.
She's the one at the end of her interview. She said, "So Is that good evidence? Even though, even if he didn't rape nobody or nothing, he still
Right.
shouldn't be contacting people on Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there's
He's just
Leanne.
seeing if you. He's just seeing if you're okay.
Yeah.
That's what I got out of all of it.
Yeah.
And that's what Daniel has said. That's what he has verbalized and said. He wishes he had never done it. He knows it was wrong, but he really was genuinely worried about her because she could have freaking died. She could have
Yeah.
died.
It's
So
actually she's lucky to have walked away with no damage to her heart and maybe other
yeah,
organs.
I
Seriously.
mean, you have the thing that's called going beyond the call of duty, and I've seen plenty of them, and it's an officer who has went out of their way to help a member of the public, whether it be a person of color, whether it be somebody young, whether it be somebody old, whether it be somebody teenage years. They've helped too. There was one that I read that this young boy had to get up at like 3 o'clock in the morning or something like that to walk to work because his work was like 5 miles away from where he stayed. And the police stopped him one morning and pulled him over and was like, right, what you doing out at this time of the morning? And he explained the situation. And then that police officer and his mates bought the young laddie a car to get him to and fro. You know what I mean?
Wow.
What should they have known? Should they know have done that? You know what I mean? Should they know have let that young boy go do that? Should they not have helped him out in any way? Do you know what I mean? And when I read the things about what Daniel's done with her, to me, it's just a concerned officer who is trying to make sure somebody is all right. And with Daniel being in the drugs unit and that as well, he'll know the damage that PCP can do to anyone. Never mind just smoking it, but if you're smoking it and then somebody's poured it on you and then you've ate a glass vial of it, my God, he would have been frightened that she was going to take an overdose. You know what I mean? So he was just checking up to make sure that she's not being stupid and fucking everything like that. To me, I don't see there's anything wrong in that. I really don't. And for Daniel to think that now, obviously because of his circumstances, but to think now that he done something wrong by doing that, that breaks my heart, because in my opinion, he did nothing wrong. He was just trying to make sure that this young woman was safe and no being stupid and taking this PCP. And then the next call he's getting is a young lassie's taking an overdose and he's turning up and it's that young lassie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yep.
But I'm going to have to say goodnight for now, folks.
Alice, thank you so much. I really appreciate you helping us out tonight, even if you did lose your mute button several times.
Enjoy your day tomorrow.
Oh, I certainly
Yes,
will. I
absolutely.
certainly will. Take some
Give him
pics.
Yes, we would love to see him. Give him hugs and pinch his little chubby cheeks for me.
Oh, I
Yes.
certainly will. I certainly will. Okay, good night, folks. Let's speak
Good night,
soon.
Alice.
Good night,
Thank you
Alice.
so
Good night,
much.
Alice.
Okay, so yes, very interesting transcript. And you know how I've been telling you guys, she says she's not a liar. She doesn't lie. I always tell the truth. It's going to get even worse under cross-examination. So she is definitely, now TJ wants cilantro because somebody was chopping off their fingers cutting cilantro. Oh my
What
goodness.
salsa?
So,
Salsa.
yeah. I was assuming because Sheila was chopping cilantro.
Yeah, you just
Anyway.
said somebody wants cilantro.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's, what can I say? Anyway, so I don't want to, it's already 2.5 hours. I definitely would like to hear any more comments or questions from the chat or from Jack or Susan for sure, if there are any. But really, yeah, I kind of feel like we've already said, what we need to say.
Mhm.
But this is really bad. This was a really bad testimony, very uncomfortably, almost uncomfortably, even for me, which is saying a lot.
They all are. I mean, they're
Yeah,
all just absolutely horrible.
horribly graphic
Yeah.
and disgusting and
Well, and
so
confusing and
fake.
and then add-ins and drop-ins and shit she didn't say before, trying to build this
Yeah,
narrative of, so she can get access to the bank account of, Oklahoma City or Oklahoma County, whatever.
They're all
Just
just
lies.
bullshit. Just
Yeah.
loads and loads and loads of bullshit.
Yep.
And poor Daniel. I mean, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
It's
I
just
mean,
horrifying that something
I
like
think
this can happen.
I think about his case, and I know, well, I don't know. I don't know what discussions he had with Scott Adams, but to me, he needed to testify. He really needed to testify and defend himself.
Yeah.
I can
yeah,
understand why, he might not have wanted to open himself up to, the state and them trying to, I'm sure they would have tried to entrap him and all that, but
Of course.
I just feel like it would have been better if he had testified in his own defense. That's me.
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't think
Well,
he
and
did
that's
any of it. Not one thing.
no,
I don't either, Jack.
no. I don't either. I mean, of course I don't. And like I've said before, if you've come to this channel thinking you're going to get a unbiased opinion, you're not. I've been researching, investigating, and all of this case for years, and I have 100% faith in Daniel's innocence. Or confidence.
Well, and I base a lot of my opinion because of the actions of the Kim Davis and Bullfrog and
Bullfrog?
well, sorry, that's a new one.
Bullwinkle.
Yeah, sorry, it's just in
Bullwinkle
my
or Bullwinkle
blink.
or
Bullwinkle.
Rockhead.
Yeah.
And the actions of their superiors, Musney and some of the others, and then especially the actions of the prosecutor's office. Jesus Christ. Seriously. Why would you? And the leading, that was so much the leading was allowed in pretty much every witness. And it was continual. It was ridiculous. So anyway, I'll shut up.
No. It's all what you're saying is all completely legitimate in my eyes.
Think about the lab. What the lab report? Think about Giger at the end, in his closing, saying that this DNA on
vaginal.
It was from vaginal cells. Was it Adira Gardner? Yeah, Adira.
Yeah. Yep.
And it was a lie. He had no way. They had no way to know that. It was never tested.
That's right. Well, there was no way to test it in Oklahoma.
No,
they didn't have the ability to test it.
As I remember, there was only
that.
Go ahead.
That was one of the biggest points for the jury.
Sure was.
One of the biggest things that convicted him.
If I'd have heard it, I'd been like, wait, what? But, I think the testimony was like there was, or what we learned, there was only like 4 places in the country that did that kind of testing at the time.
Yeah.
It was very few. Very few.
Very few places.
So I don't just base my testimony and thinking that, I'm just not going to convict a cop. No, it's not that. It's so much more.
Yeah. No, Cherie, we're not going to do Rocky's testimony next time. We're going to finish her testimony, Hill's testimony, on Tuesday, and then we'll do Rocky's on Thursday, 2 days later, is the plan. And then I think Kat said she had a hashtag, but I think she meant question. So Please, no, I don't. You don't have to wait for another time. You can ask now. Let's just get it out there and answer. Um,
Hashtag kitty
and
cat.
hashtag. I guess I have a hashtag smile.
Ma'am?
But yeah, I mean, feel free to ask it now because somebody else might want to know the answer to the same question. You never know. TJ, who are you? I'm the door. You're the door. Oh my god! And when she said, "Okay, I'm the bed," I died. I almost.
She said, "I'm him."
I'm him.
Okay, I'm
him.
him.
Yeah, I'm him.
As in Daniel.
No, she can't be doing this again. Okay, I'm him. What? She is some kind of fucking storyteller. That's
Yeah.
all I can say.
Okay,
So,
she does have
anyway.
a question. Catnip.
Okay, what's your question? Like she could just pop up and answer me. She's always welcome to come onto the panel. But anyway, yeah. You while you're typing your question, yeah, I mean, there's really just not much more that we can really say about this testimony. This beginning, this is only the beginning, and she couldn't even like she was so gosh, I don't think dramatic's the right word, but somebody said embellished. She kept embellishing, and she had a story. Oh, I know that this is what I was thinking. Jack has said this many times, and I know that we all, or most of us, have seen. I don't remember if they did cat. I don't think so, but there were supplemental police reports.
I do remember Daniel's attorney saying something about, there's stuff on the chart that people did indeed come in the room while she was in there.
Yes.
Yeah.
The
second room.
doctor
That's
and maybe
right.
some nurses. Yeah.
Well, he questioned. He said, "So if I had a chart here, it shows, nurses and doctors did come in and out of this room, they'd be lying." And she said, "Yes."
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, that's right. That was in preliminary.
Yes.
Yep. So I don't know if they testified or not, but I'll let you know, Kat. I'll let you know tomorrow or the next day. Well, probably not the next day, but tomorrow maybe. Anyway, no, he didn't. Byron Boschel did not. No, he did not testify either. He just did a supplemental report.
Who is he?
Byron Boschel. He was the security guard at the hospital.
Uh-huh.
And he was the one that managed to capture one screenshot photo of Daniel, and that was when he had left her room to go help that other officer assist his runaway.
Oh,
okay. That's the only. There's no video. There's no nothing. There's just that one screenshot was all.
She didn't mention that, did she? Him leaving the room.
Oh no.
At any time.
No. Nope. And Byron Boschel, I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago. Byron Boschel was also the investigative supervisor who was assigned to the Oklahoma City crime lab during the Joyce Gilchrist, Elaine Taylor reign. And he was the one whose investigation ultimately ended up getting Joyce Gilchrist terminated. So Byron Boschel's been around the Oklahoma City department for quite a while. So anyway, so what? That's the plan. Tuesday night, probably at 5 Central again. It's going to be a while. I can tell you that it's going to be over 140 pages. So
yeah,
we'll have
unless you decide to split it into 3 parts. But
yeah, we could do that too. I mean, it's really honestly, as long as I hate to keep dragging her case out, but
Sure.
Really, even though he was found not guilty on her accusations, it's just I don't know. I think it's kind of like what you guys were talking about. It's astonishing the story that she came up with and then just continued to embellish, with each event, police report, preliminary trial testimony. So I don't know. Maybe, all you guys all have the second part. Read through it and see what you guys think. If you feel like it should be split up into a third part, then we'll do that. Because I want to
guess
make sure that we give it the attention it deserves.
I guess it just kind of depends on how the flow goes, and it may go. Some
Mhm.
pages are not that full, and they take
True.
less than a minute. Some pages are very full, and they take you a minute plus. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and also sometimes there's so many reasons to pause and discuss.
Oh, absolutely.
Well,
so. I do think it's important that. I hate to interrupt the flow, but I think it's important. Maybe I should stop and ask, but when we see these discrepancies between of these drop-ins that, like you said, she keeps adding to her shit, and between her trial testimony and what she said in the preliminary, which was bad enough, God, I think it's important to point it out.
Well, yeah, that's the main purpose of doing this, right? So
right.
I did notice that in her preliminary, she went to the bathroom a lot more times than she did at trial.
Yeah. Well,
she said she did at the hospital.
Yeah.
Yeah, she said she went twice in the preliminary.
Was it twice or 3 times? Twice?
No, he touched her boob 3 times. She went to the bathroom twice.
Okay.
Yeah, and
but
I
here
think
she only testified to once.
Right, but I think it's also important we covered it a little bit, but this intent to distribute, the state, Miss McDonald or whatever, she tries to really just slip past it, and that's a key thing. It's a really important thing.
I honestly don't know if she understood what Shardayreon was saying.
I don't think she did.
Or stunned by it.
Caught on to what the hell she was talking about.
Yeah, the wording is really, really bad.
Yeah. She just went past it because she didn't know what the fuck was going on.
Here's the thing. Here's what I think too. They were getting way too much talk from her during trial testimony because she was cutting off McConnell and she was going with these long stories about one thing and so much detail. Oh, that's what I was going to say. Jack has mentioned many times that the more detail that people put into a story, it can be considered that is a lie. If they're putting in all these details that just really are, unnecessary,
they're
that's
irrelevant.
Probably a lie. Irrelevant, yeah. And,
they're trying to pile on. They're trying to pile on and sell their story that they've crafted, for their true motive, which was to try to win, of course, and get a pile of money.
And I just gasped.
Yeah.
Please. And something. Okay, so a couple of differences between police report, preliminary, and here. In the police report, she was babysitting her kids, right?
Yep.
Babysitting the kids. She was the only adult there. Babysitting the kids, got to get back into the house. Then in preliminary, my husband had just stepped out, and she did. Where did
still just the kids?
From?
And it was still just the kids in the house.
Just the kids, and then we get to the trial, and what did we have? We had
her
grandma mother
sister.
And her sister in the house.
Or maybe grandma and her sister, I think.
Grandma and sister. There were 2 adults in the freaking house.
And
she pretended like she was on the phone with the kids while she was in the car. Where did that come from?
Right. That wasn't in the preliminary either.
No. It was nowhere.
And if grandma and sister were in the house, they were looking out the window.
Of course they were.
Hell yeah, they were.
And the kids too.
Yeah,
We had
yeah,
10 eyes on 'em.
yeah, absolutely. Okay, you guys were awesome tonight. Thank you so much. We Tuesday and Thursday next week for sure. And I don't know. We're just going to kind of let us, we're going to kind of go with where we feel like we need to go. I think is
I think that you
probably,
just play it by ear is the
yeah.
best
We'll
way.
just
It's
play it by ear
Yeah,
and
yeah.
see how people are feeling as we're going, and we'll just do
I
it that
agree.
way.
Yeah, I
Um,
agree.
so because we won't be back before the holiday for those of you in America who celebrate Thanksgiving Day. Happy Thanksgiving this week. Happy holiday.
Happy
And
Thanksgiving.
yeah, best wishes to everybody. And
Grateful
just
for this
remember,
community
yes,
and for all the
definitely
passion.
thankful. Yep. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we're absolutely. Thank you, Susan. Yeah. Grateful, yeah, we do have a lot to be grateful for. I believe that Catnip put Daniel's address into the chat. And so please, if you could send Daniel a card or a letter. His birthday is December 10th. So even though your letter won't get to him by Thanksgiving time, you could certainly have plenty of time to get a birthday card to him. And I know that he would really, really appreciate that. So while we're being thankful for what we have with our freedom and everything this week, take a few minutes to write a note to Daniel and let him know that we're always thinking of him and that we're doing this for him and his family. So until next time, next Tuesday, 5 p.m. Central, peace out.